A new season of the Jacksonville Symphony gets rolling with a new assistant conductor this year. Philly native and musical virtuoso Na'Zir McFadden is known for pushing the boundaries of 21st century ensemble conducting. He joins us now to talk about it. Good morning, Na'Zir.
Good morning.
We are also joined by longtime musical director for the Jacksonville Symphony, Courtney Lewis. Welcome back, Courtney.
Thank you, Anne. It's great to see you.
It is great to see you as well. So maybe let's begin with you giving us a little introduction to Na'Zir, how he caught your eye, how he was chosen for this role.
Well, when we have an assistant conductor audition, we cast our net wide and try and get as many people as possible. And then we choose videos of people we like. And then they come and about 10 of them conduct the orchestra. And this was a very easy audition to make the decision because Na'Zir was miles ahead. You know, conducting is hard when you're under pressure. And if you think about the most important thing a conductor has to do, it's to set the speed of the music. That's actually quite difficult when your adrenaline is pumping.
Mm.
And somebody who's calm under pressure is instantly going to stand out. And I remember just particularly like the strength of Nazir's rhythm was so powerful that the orchestra relaxed and trusted him.
Mhm.
And here we are.
Yeah. And that's important, I guess, you've got to get the buy-in of your orchestra. You've also got to, sort of present for an audience. Na'Zir, just tell us a little bit about how you got into music in the first place, because it sounds like your passion for conducting dates back to an age when few people were doing much beyond watching cartoons.
Yeah, so very early on, um, I was introduced to a different style of conducting. I grew up in the church, and I had family members in the church band and in the chorus, and so I was at rehearsals every week. And one Sunday morning, before the service, so very early, um, I was sitting in rehearsal, and the band leader, in the orchestra we say conductor, but in church it's the band leader, you know, was waving his arms, and I thought, what is he doing? And what is this great sound? And I said, I want to be a conductor one day. I want to be just like you. And he didn't say anything other than, one day you'll be great. And from that moment on, I knew I was going to be great. I was going to be a leader. And it just happened to work out to be a conductor.
And before you were even trained or really even a practicing musician, you were sort of configuring your own wands to wave around and to sort of, further this idea that this was going to be your destiny.
Yes, so I used to break plastic clothes hangers, and I used to wave my arms around, not knowing what I was doing, but
Uh-huh.
with my headphones, and I knew that I could connect to the music in a way that I couldn't quite do from just sitting still or just playing an instrument. So, my mom had to pay for a lot of clothes hangers, but I think it worked out.
So you say you didn't know what you were doing. What are you doing? For people who don't understand this job and, you're standing up there, you are waving your arms, you're holding these little wands, but like what is in your hands? What are you controlling? What are you communicating to your performers?
I would maybe shy away from controlling or really doing anything. I think some of the best conductors, like Courtney said, are the ones who are most relaxed on the podium, and it kind of flows naturally. And it's a form of communication without saying anything. So maybe in quotations, I could say I'm in control of the tempo, or maybe the expression, or the sound. If anything, I think a conductor is there to inspire or to guide the musicians, the very capable musicians, to play or perform in a certain way. So if we want to narrow it down to the technical terms, in my right hand, I'm controlling the rhythm. In my left hand, I'm controlling the expression, but I like to push it further and say my face and my body is controlling the atmosphere.
Yeah. And Courtney, I mean, obviously the conductor is the focus of so much during a performance like this. We watch the players, we look at them, especially when they're doing something, a solo or something, but you're the focus of so much. And so when you're bringing someone aboard like Na'Zir, what advice do you have for them when they're in? I mean, I know he's avoiding the word control, but when you're in control of so much of the audience experience.
Well, I think something that is important to realize is that the physicality of the conductor is inspiring the musicians, but it's also an emotional guide for the audience. Because as you say, the musicians often
are so busy taking care of playing all the notes, they don't necessarily look like the music at any point, which is no fault of their own. They've got to play all the notes. They've got a lot to do. And the physicality and the emotional expression of a conductor can help an audience, particularly one that is maybe hearing the music for the first time,
Mm.
to trust their own emotional response. So often I'll get somebody will come up and say, "I've never heard this piece before, but it made me feel such and such," and they are seeking validation that that's an okay response,
Mhm.
and it always is. People are always right, but somehow seeing the conductor's emotional energy and mood can be a guide for the audience as well.
Yeah. And so do you choose pieces with Nazir? Do you kind of let him look over what's on the agenda this season and say, like, this appeals to me? How do you decide which pieces he's going to be performing, what he should tackle?
So there are two parts to the job. There's conducting particular concerts, so some symphony in 60, some young people, some community concerts. And a huge part of the job is also covering for other conductors, so assisting me or other guest conductors when we're conducting, because what we hear from the podium is not exactly the same as what the audience hears in the hall.
Hmm.
And it's really important that you have somebody who's got a set of ears that you trust to tell you, oh, in fact, such and such is too loud, or this didn't come across the way I think you meant it to, or you should think about this. So in that way, it's a really important partnership, because I don't have time to run back into the hall all the time to listen to what I'm hearing, and
Yeah.
it's surprisingly different. So it's those two things, but it's a very important ambassadorial role for the symphony.
Yeah.
I'm particularly happy to be having somebody come and join us with so much experience of that already. And we're looking forward to a whole range of concerts that Nazir will be conducting, and it'll broaden as time goes on as well.
Sure. And this symphony has really worked on, expanding its youth footprint, also expanding its inclusivity.
Mhm.
And I would guess that Nazir brings that. I mean, his background, he is a very young. I think you're 25.
I just turned 25.
Happy 25. So, obviously very youthful. And you said he's going to be doing some of the youth work for the symphony.
Mhm. So when we have young people come into the concert hall from schools, those concerts are presented by assistant conductors.
Yeah. And so, Nazir, you're coming to Jacksonville by way of Detroit. You're originally from Philly. What do you know about Jacksonville? What appeals to you about coming to Jacksonville in particular? I mean, you've played, we should say, all over the place, Baltimore, Boston, you've done performances around the country.
Yeah, so the great thing about Jacksonville is that it's in a sort of renaissance period, I would say. The city is really opening up, and it's welcoming new and exciting faces and experiences and opinions. So I feel very welcomed already in the first 3 weeks of me being in the city, and from the outside looking in. For me, I knew Jacksonville was going to be a great place to be because of the warm weather and the openness to making music around the city, or the art scene in the city is so great. And I think the people of Jacksonville are so warm and so excited about new ideas, and I'm excited to be this new person bringing in new ideas.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're getting a good reception in the city. You know, this is a place that you'll be for a period of time. I guess I'm curious what it is that you think the audience will take away from seeing you and watching you perform alongside the orchestra.
I am a conductor who doesn't like to do things the traditional way, whether it be making music in the traditional or most common way, or some of my programming ideas. I always like to push the boundaries
Can you
of,
think of an example?
yeah, so something like how I explain a piece of music. Oftentimes, assistant conductors will give pre-concert lectures. A moment where the assistant conductor will talk about the program that they're going to hear.
Mm.
Something that I love to do is to get away from the lecture idea and have a conversation about music, because I find that patrons and audience members just want to be included in the music as well as learn something. So that's something that I find to be very different, that
And so you try to engage them in more of a back and forth?
whether it be from excerpts from the music, or having conversations with the musicians or the composers,
Mhm.
or going through my score, just anything, I think, to bring people along to the concert experience.
So, Courtney, we know that there is the traditional community concert that kicks off this season. That's September 12th at 7:30. What can people expect from that, and what are you looking forward to most this season?
Well, the community concert is kind of a little sample of everything that's going to happen in the various programs that we have in the pops in the classical series. I'm really excited about the opening night that we have on September 25th and 26th, Friday and Saturday. That begins with a new piece by Jamaican American composer Joel Thompson called "To See the Sky." One of the most exciting pieces I've heard recently. I heard it with the New York Phil at Vale 2 years ago, and immediately said, "Who is this guy? We've got to commission him. Let's play this piece." That also features the Copeland Clarinet Concerto with our principal clarinetist Giovanni Bertoni, a soloist, and Prokofiev Fifth Symphony. A great celebratory, bright, colorful piece. So at this point of the year, I haven't seen the musicians for weeks. I haven't seen the audience for weeks. I haven't been in the hall for ages. So I can't wait to get back to work and to open with such a colorful program.
It's sort of like back to school. Well, congratulations on the assistant conductor position, Na'Zir McFadden. It's great to see you. Courtney Lewis, thank you so much for being here. Have a great season.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.